There we go. Hey, welcome to the Thursday Checkdown. What a show tonight. We are, as you can see, dressed to kill. And I got a special DJ with me. I thought I was going to be joined by Elwood Blues, but apparently I got a disc jockey instead. Tip, how you doing tonight?
I'm great. It's MC Don't Trip. Get it right, turkey face.
MC Don't Trip. Hey, listen, it's our mission at the Sports Affiliation to provide very best fantasy advice possible in a positive manner. And we're going to have fun doing it, as you can tell. If it's not fun, why bother? Tonight, we're going to be telling you what stud you should be sitting, what sleeper you should be starting, and a variety of other topics. I'm Greg. I'm joined by MC Don't Trip. And our two special guests are, representing the pros is Josh Kimmel from Once Upon a Sunday podcast. Josh, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, man. Like you said, Josh from Once Upon a Sunday. I've been doing fantasy for about 6 years now, at least on the YouTubes. This is my first year. We just hit our 1-year anniversary on YouTube. So this has been an experience, put my face out there on the camera. We go in depth on the redraft, of course. But throughout the offseason, we go dynasty and talk everything. We like to have fun as well. You've been on our show, Greg, and it was a blast. And we just like to goof around over there as well.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not fun, why bother? Now, representing the Joes is our first return guest of the year, Rick Brusuelis. Rick actually was on with us with Disco back in September, excuse me. And he volunteered last minute to come on. I got to tell you, Rick, I got to ask you, what do you like best about Halloween?
Well, actually, it's probably my least favorite holiday. So I guess if I'm going to pick one thing I like the best about it, candy. And
Reese's Cups.
Oh, you like Reese's Cup too, Greg? Oh, man. Okay.
But I put them in the fridge so that they're not melting in my hands.
Okay, yeah. Greg, you just went up a notch in my book. All right.
You're
already up there, but you just went up another. Well, yeah.
Anyway, operating behind the scenes is JC. Iggy is off trick-or-treating with his child. So, and actually, I think Josh just got back from trick-or-treating with his. So, we're going to start off real quick with to AI or not to AI. Each week, we ask the Sports Mind AI to evaluate 3 players. Last week, we asked it to rank Javonte Williams, Zach Moss, and Rashad White. It predicted Williams would be best, Josh Downs second, and Zach Moss. The actual results, Rashad White was best, Javonte Williams, and then Zach Moss. Not Josh Downs, sorry, Rashad White. I mistyped that, my bad. This week, I thought I was getting really slick. I asked it to rank with pros and cons, Ray Davis, Jalen Waddle, and Sam Laporta as a flex play for week 9 in a PPR league. Now, each of these 3 guys is within 2 points of each other year to date. We also asked the crowd. This is what the crowd thought. They thought the very best choice would be Jalen Waddle, 51%. 40% liked Sam Laporta. That left 9% for Ray Davis. He was not liked at all. Now, my take is, with Tua back, and over his first game rustiness and fumbleitis, Waddle, I think, stands out here. Davis' only positive is his usage near the goal line, and there's no guarantee that, he'll get usage near the goal line. And this week, Miami plays Buffalo, so you can watch 2 of these players in that one game. As for Laporta, his usage has been weak at best, but he is coming off his most targets for the season. And with Jamal Williams out one more week with that suspension, I think he has sneaky upside. But I think I'm going with the crowd here. I like Waddle best, Laporta next, and Davis. But, JC, what does Sir Wellington think?
Jalen Waddle stands out as the best flex option for Week 9. His potential for a breakout game remains strong with Tua's return and the possibility of a significant target volume. While there's an inherent risk given his recent performances, the upside with Waddle, especially in a PPR format, outweighs the other options. Laporta is a decent fringe starter, representing a safer but more low-ceiling choice if you lean towards guaranteed touches. But pulling the trigger on Waddle's explosive ability seems the wisest move for Week 9.
Hey, they get me dancing every time. This day in history, baby. October 31st, my daughter Paula was born. All right. But in 1992, then Pope John Paul II acknowledged the errors committed by the Catholic Church while dealing with Galileo Galilei in the 17th century. So if the Pope can admit he was wrong, what NFL coach is going to be forced to admit that he made a mistake this week? Let's start off with our pro. Who do you got, Josh?
I got Todd Bowles of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers losing against the Atlanta Falcons. A pretty big game for them. Down two of their best receivers, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Obviously, Godwin's out for the rest of the season. Mike Evans will be back soon after the bye week. They decided to throw the ball 50 times with Baker Mayfield. 50 times to a rookie wide receiver, an unproven tight end, and a gaggle of either unproven guys or guys that just haven't actually had a shot yet. I think he does need to take a little bit of accountability of the play calling, even though Liam Cohen is doing that, and he's been doing great since. But I think should say, hey, man, I should do what I said 2 weeks ago when I said Sean Tucker will be more involved. Sean Tucker was not involved at all. I don't understand it. He needs to own up to it, and he hasn't yet. But it's okay. It's coming. Sean Tucker will get his day in time. But at the moment, Todd Bowles, just say, hey, man, I lied to you guys. Sean Tucker's not going to be involved. And we're going to continue to throw the ball 50 times a game.
Well, he can get the ball in the passing game, too. It's just there's three backs there that are all pretty good. Frankly, even after his big game, I didn't think that Bucky Irving had done anything to lose his touches. He had a good game then, too. He just didn't get in the end zone twice.
So I have something on that. So it was 14-14 going in the middle of the second quarter, right? It was still like people want to say, oh, it was a blowout. Oh, they had to throw. They're coming from behind. Well, it was 14-14. They ran the ball 8 times after that. That's it. Just 8 times. To me, that's
Rashad White is the better receiving back.
He is. He definitely is, but he's definitely not great in between the tackles. And he fumbled on the second play of the game, mind you that. He's had problems with that. Keep him as a scat back, a third down back. Now, I understand Sean Tucker's not a great pass protector. I totally understand that. That's his biggest knock. But he's got to be more involved. He won Offensive Player in the Week 2 weeks ago. That wasn't a fluke. He's a very good runner. It just seems like Todd Bowles told us fantasy players he's going to be involved. We all spent fab on this man, and this man's sitting on the bench. So that's honestly, it's hurting my feelings as a fantasy manager. But I don't like the coach speak of like, yeah, we're going to get them all involved, and you just don't get them involved. But I understand it's a crowded room back there.
Yeah, I'm going next, and I'm going with Mike McCarthy, Dallas head coach. Okay, Jerry Jones has never been known for being patient. Okay, just not his style. Okay, and the past 3 years they've been 12-5, which is pretty good, right? But this year, I don't know. Over the past 20 years, they've only had 4 losing seasons and 4 seasons where they were 500. And this year, if they lose 2 more games in a row, which is a definitive possibility, I'm not sure what Jerry Jones does, but I do know this. It could be a change at any moment. And I think that you're going to have to see McCarthy eat a little crow, at least to his boss. What say you, Rick? Do you think McCarthy's on the hot seat a little bit if they lose 2 more?
Yeah, as a Texan fan, seeing the Cowboys suffer,
You love it, right?
That's just a cherry on top of the sundae. So
As a Lions fan, seeing Detroit go in there and spank those boys, I love that because it was Barry versus Emmett for too many years. All right, Tip, you're next, buddy.
All right, yo, check this out. So, how can it not be Matt Eberflus? Did you guys see what happened last week? Look, this guy got a backup center, Doug Kramer, to go in a 3rd and goal situation and run the ball. Like what is going on? I don't understand what Matt Eberflus is doing. I don't understand what the Chicago Bears offense was doing. It's Matt Eberflus, man. Get him out of here.
It's the rookies. They're depending too much on rookies, and frankly, if the center had scored a touchdown on that play, you'd be calling him a genius. I mean, look, Ben Johnson is the best offensive coordinator in football, my opinion. All right, he tried to throw to a tackle a couple weeks ago twice, I think against Dallas. He tried to throw to 2 different tackles twice. Well, no, one of them was a run. I think Sewell got a run or Taylor Decker got a run. The other one he tried to throw to in the back of the end zone. And he's a genius. Neither one scored, but he's a genius. But, when you score 52 points, against the Titans, who's supposed to be a good defense, come on, Josh, tell me, who do you think between the 3 of us so far, who's got the best coach? Are you sticking with yours?
Oh, I'm not sticking with my coach. There ain't no way. Eberflus had by far one of the biggest blunders of the week, but we're all entitled to our own opinions. You MC, you said, how do we not pick this guy? Because you picked him first.
That's an excellent point. Now, I will say this. We sent out the show notes early enough that you could have got him first.
Hey, down here, we like to keep it a little slow. You know what I like to do? I like to let you all pick. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll make a snipe over here, snipe over. Oh, wait. Gosh, I should have went first. That's what I always do. When you do my fantasy drafts, I'm like, I'm not picking first. I'm picking last. And I'm like, man, I should have picked first because I ain't got my guys. See, I outsmart myself.
And what I do is I send that thing out and I wait 5 minutes. And then I think
I like that style too.
Who's next, MC?
So next we got
No, we got one more person.
Yeah.
Run the thing, man. Run the thing right.
Let's do it, Rick.
Okay, and my coach is Doug Peterson, head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. What can I say? No coach does less with more. He's got a decent quarterback. He's got good running attack. He's got, decent wide receivers if they can stay healthy. And he's 2-6. And from a fantasy football view, he gives his usual response to a player's health of being day to day. So frustrating to try to figure out, especially when at least half the time that player is going to sit. So, and this week, what do we have? We've got Brian Thomas Jr. He's day to day. So he's on the hot seat, and we'll just have to wait and see what this week's excuse is.
Well, you do realize though that of that guy, I mean, what can we say? You're talking about the Chicago coach, and he was a Hail Mary away from going 6-2. I mean, Chicago's pretty good record. They're not going to have any problems, I don't think.
Do you think a good coaching staff would have one of their players taunting the fans?
That was crazy.
I don't think the coaching staff. Look, I'm spoiled. I got Detroit, and they got great coaches, and they want players with a specific attitude. And you just don't get that everywhere. Do I think Eberflus is a great coach? No. Do I think he's a good coach? I don't think anybody saw Chicago being 6-2 at this point in the season with a rookie quarterback.
You know what, Greg?
So,
That is true. That is true. A lot of people didn't see it. I saw it. I talked about it because
well,
this is the
that whole
easier part of their
division.
schedule. This is the easier part of their schedule. But man, when they get back from I think it's week 11 on, they're going to be playing a bunch of their division rivals. So it's going to be a tougher task for them then.
All right, we're doing something special now. We're going to tell you what studs to sit, JC. MC, you're running the show.
All right, so check this out. So each week we bring out a stud to sit. This is a player that we feel like that is in their top 12 right now, but we feel like they're going to finish outside of the top 24. So, check this out, Greg.
No. Running back and wide receiver outside the top 24. Quarterback and tight end.
Nobody has
outside the top 12.
Oh, 12. Okay, yeah, Joe. Okay. So, look, check it out. We're going to talk about some of these duds that we're going to play this or not going to play this week because you know what, Greg? You always say it. Everybody else does not say it, but you don't always have to start your studs, right?
I'm saying if anybody that tells you to always start your studs, go find somebody else to listen to. Because right now we're right at 60% of telling you to sit guys in the top 12. And 60% of the time we've been right.
We have. And Greg, hit us off with your first stud to sit.
Oh, man, I got to pull it up on my phone because I'm going with a guy that I actually like. Okay? I love the way this guy plays football. Josh Jacobs, Green Bay Packers.
Ooh,
now, the problem with Josh, and I've got my notes here, so I'll just glance at them because he's playing my Lions. And the one thing about the Lions defense, you can beat them through the air. Jacobs is not a pass receiving threat. He'll catch some, but he's not CMC by any stretch. So he's got to get it on the ground. And the problem is Detroit is very good on the ground. I think they're the third toughest team in terms of fantasy points allowed to running backs this year. Third best in the NFL. Also, yesterday, Josh Jacobs missed practice. Now, I don't know if he practiced this week. If he practiced today, he was probably limited. He's dealing with a high ankle sprain.
Ooh.
Not severe. He wanted to go back into the game last week, but the coaches held him out because he did have that ankle sprain. But I think a bigger issue is the fact that his quarterback is also questionable. And if you have Malik Willis, you don't even have a passing threat. You don't have a passing threat. Detroit's going to load up that box. And I just don't see Detroit giving up very much to Josh Jacobs this week. So he is definitely my stud to sit for the week.
All right, you turkey. Josh Jacobs did return back to practice today, but I like the call. It's a good one against Detroit Lions. Detroit's only
given up 5 rushing touchdowns this year.
Yeah,
and they're giving up 70 yards per game, basically.
It's a tough defense. All right, bro, hit us with yours. Who you got? Who you sitting this week?
This one was difficult because I love this player. I love Malik Neighbors. And I can't believe I'm saying this. I can't believe I'm telling people to sit him in your lineups. He's excellent, right? He's missed 3 games. He's still second in targets overall. It's just bananas. It's like it's never gonna stop. It's just hike, throw, Neighbors, hike, Neighbors, hike, Neighbors. It's just nonstop. But Washington lately has been stopping the pass. The very beginning of the year, Washington was terrible, but all of a sudden they turned it around. I'm trying to figure out what is happening. Why are they turning it around? Why are they so well? I looked at the last quarterbacks they played, right? They played in that 4-game span. They've only given up 171 passing yards per game. And I'm reading this off my notes. But they played Jameis Winston for like a drive, Deshaun Watson, Andy Dalton, Bryce Young for like 2 plays.
Andy Dalton with a broken thumb.
Yes. But then they played Caleb Williams and Lamar Jackson. So I'm like, okay, let me see what they did with Lamar. Well, Lamar had Zay Flowers go bananas for 130 yards. Caleb had, I believe, DJ Moore up there in a high range. But every other receiver struggled. So I'm like, okay, who's he playing this week? Okay. Daniel Jones. He's not Lamar. He's not even Caleb. So
I want to call you, Josh. I want to call you out on this a little bit. All right.
All right.
I watched that last game. Daniel Jones was throwing some dimes. He was living up to his nickname, Danny Dimes. The problem was he kept getting hit in the face. I mean, that offensive line
Yes.
is absolutely the worst I've ever seen in the NFL. So, I think if they can give him time, you're not going to like this Malik Neighbors result because Dimes will throw to him, and Danny can throw the ball. He just needs some time. I think the best thing that could happen to Daniel Jones is he'd get cut and go to another team that's got an offensive line.
1,000%. I agree with you. And just look at the cases of now in the NFL. If you told me, if I went to sleep 7 years ago and I woke up and Geno Smith is starting quarterback, what's happening? It's just sometimes Baker Mayfield takes a change of pace or change of team. I understand that. Like I said, I don't like this call, but I wanted to go bold. I really did want to go bold because if it hits, I'm here for glory, right? And it's possible. Daniel Jones can get hit in the face. He can get rushed. He can get pressured. And then he makes mistakes.
He makes bad decisions when he gets hit. Yeah.
Bad decisions. So that's my stud to sit. It's just kind of more of a hunch. Kind of a little bit like, when they play bad quarterbacks, they kind of dominate them.
All right.
It's my turn next. And this one's going to be another eyebrow raiser because this is a player that I love. If you actually look over my shoulder, you can see right here, there's an article. And this was the very first article that I wrote on this player. It's Breece Hall. Look, the Texans are tough against the run, especially the last 3 games. The Texans are only giving up a 12.5 touchdown percentage rushing to the running backs. That's 5th fewest right now. So I'm out on him. Then you got Braylon Allen coming in. Braylon Allen has been more of a trick than a treat for these Breece Hall managers out there. So look, I'm all out on Breece Hall this week. Another situation too that I don't love about these Jets is that they rush the ball only 22 times a game. How are you going to have Breece Hall and Braylon Allen and only rush the ball 22 times a game? I get it. They got Aaron Rodgers. All right, that's great. But look, Aaron Rodgers is not the same Aaron Rodgers that he once was. They need to lean on this run game. That's something that they haven't been doing, and the Texans will exploit that. Now, I do understand one other fact, that the Texans do give up receiving yards and receiving touchdowns, which Breece Hall has been doing. But I feel like this week, this is a situation that the Texans are like, hey, we know this team is desperate. We know that they want to win, and we're going to come in there and we're going to stop their main offense, and that's running the ball. Although they don't do it, that's their main weapon is Breece Hall. He's not going to be a stud that I am starting this week.
Hey, Rick, I think MC Tipp tripped on this one. You got to tell me, man, this guy, Breece Hall, had 138 yards receiving last week. 138 receiving yards? I'm sorry, buddy. The only way New York keeps up with Houston, even though I know Houston lost their top 2 receivers, and that's going to hurt their offense a little bit, they're going to have to throw to Breece.
Yeah, but the Texans are going to follow the Belichick's approach of you take out the number 1 offensive weapon on the other team.
But who is that now?
Breece Hall's going to struggle.
It's Breece, 100%.
You think it's Breece and not Devontae or not Garrett Wilson? I think Garrett Wilson is the number 1 threat on that team.
No, it's Breece Hall.
There we go. Josh and I agree.
It's Garrett.
Okay, so I guess it's my turn, and I'll go ahead and I kind of cheated a bit, and I took tight end. I know last week was tight end week, and there was a lot of
good ones. Yeah.
This particular tight end didn't, partake in that, tight end week, but Hunter Henry for the New England Patriots, and I love Hunter Henry, and I have him on a number of teams. And he's had some solid games, including week 7. I think he had like 9 catches for 92 yards. He's been, a very dependable tight end, but he's going against the Tennessee Titans. And as much as I hate the Titans for stealing the original Houston team, they are really tough defense, and they're especially tough against tight ends.
Yeah.
Now,
We've only
Rick,
allowed one.
before you go further, let me remind you that last week, not one, but 2 Detroit tight ends scored touchdowns.
Hunter
That's
Henry
true.
is not
Yeah.
Laporta.
He's not saying Hunter Henry is better than Brock Wright.
Yeah, but that's still a much better offense going, and
Better offensive coordinator for sure.
Yeah.
Better play.
The Titans only have given up 33 yards per game against tight ends, and I think that's where Hunter Henry is going to hit. He's probably going to hit somewhere in the low 30s, and no touchdowns. He's only had 1 touchdown, so expecting a touchdown out of him this game is really unrealistic. But I'm guessing it's going to be pretty minimal production coming from Mr. Henry.
Do you like him better with Drake May or with Jacoby Brissett?
Drake May, the better quarterback.
I agree with that. We got a little bit of extra time here, so I want to ask you guys this. I'm old school, man. I remember when every quarterback sat for 2 or 3 years before they got on the field. All right. Nowadays, all the rookies are playing right away. I mean, if you look at it, Spencer Rattler went in this year, okay, and what round was he drafted in? So yeah, 5th, okay, and you got what 5 rookie quarterbacks playing right now? There's Caleb, Jaden, Bo, Drake May, and there's one more. Is there? No, 4 rookies. And I thought the best rookie was going to be J.J. McCarthy because I thought he was the most pro ready because of Harbaugh.
You think that because he went to Michigan, Greg?
I think it because I think Harbaugh coaches the game right. Is what I think.
I can't doubt that. I can't argue with that.
So let me ask you: do you guys think that getting these guys in early is better for their careers, or letting them sit for a year is better for their careers? Start with you, Rick.
It's situational. I mean, they did, and Anthony Richardson is, for all intents and purposes, a rookie quarterback. Yeah. They sat him after,
Bryce Young.
And Bryce Young, although he's, I think, back starting again this week.
Only because of a broken thumb to Dalton.
Sure. So I do think there's a certain degree of, gaining experience and also avoiding the frustration of just being beat on, both physically in the games and also, reading the newspapers and hearing all the, sports reports about, how the rookie is struggling. I do miss J.J. McCarthy. I had him on
a lot of teams here.
With Josh, I'm in a league with him where I lost my quarterback in a rookie league. So
that psychotic league.
So that's painful. Also, and keep J.J. McCarthy in mind, because when we get to the put me in coach, not too surprisingly, there'll be a touchback to the J.J. McCarthy situation.
Yeah. Now, Josh, somebody in the chat mentioned that it's because of the pressure to play a quarterback on a rookie contract. Do you think that really is why they're doing it, or do they just think that they'll develop faster on the field than on the bench?
I think it plays into it, right? Like you watch a Brock Purdy come in right away and boom, that team is ready to win right away, and he's on a rookie contract. We see it all the time these days. And they've always said this, since I was a youngin', when the Wildcat was incepted.
You're still a youngin'.
Hey, man, I'm pushing 40, but yes, I try to be young. But yeah, when the Wildcat was coming, the big thing was it's a copycat league, right? So we see one person do it, boom, we got to do it. Okay, now they're doing that. Okay, now we got to do that. It's just kind of the snowball effect where everyone tries to copy each other. So I do think it's a lot of pressure. And plus from the ownership, they want to see what they have. Who wants to open up? Who wants on Christmas Day in 2 months? You think my son wants to open up his whatever I get him, his Lego set, and I go, no, buddy, let it sit on the shelf. All right, we're going to open that next year. No, they want to play with it now. And I'm sure the ownership, they're let's get these players out here. We drafted them for a reason. So there's pressure up the top, of course.
Yeah.
MC, don't trip. Don't trip.
Yeah,
what do you got?
I think these organizations are tripping because they definitely need to sit these kids down. I mean, we just talked about Anthony Richardson. This is a situation where, okay, I understand he needs reps. He needs snaps. I get it. But if you get snaps and you do what he's been doing, that's just going to hurt his confidence down the road. It's going to hurt his confidence right now, immediately, and down the road. So I think that, yeah, the organizations with these quarterbacks, they're investing in these rookies for a reason. I think they need to go and invest in a decent backup like the Indianapolis Colts did. Shout out to GM Chris Ballard for that, because now you get an opportunity to sit some games down, and hopefully, Anthony Richardson is in the film room and learns from what Joe Flacco has been doing on the field.
Well, let's take a commercial break and pay our bills.
Find your win tuition and elevate your sports betting with Better Takes. Better Takes examines your betting history to uncover hidden areas that cause bankroll leaks. Uncover patterns and biases so you can break the cycle of mistakes, avoid weaknesses, and play into your strengths. Our advanced stats offer unparalleled granularity, helping you immediately spot problem areas that could be affecting your success. Use the Better Takes Edge Score to gauge your expertise for each potential bet, providing clarity and confidence in your decisions. Take control of your betting journey. Download Better Takes from the Apple App Store or Google Play today and start understanding your biases for free. Before placing bets, check with Better Takes, a smarter, more informed approach to sports betting.
So just like there's always studs you should sit, you got to start somebody. So there's guys that are outside the top 12 quarterbacks and tight ends, or top 24 running backs and wide receivers that should start. Now, a lot of people like to use the term sleeper, okay? My studs are top 12 guys, period. If you're top 12, you're a stud. I don't care what your reputation was coming in. If you're not a top 12 guy, you're not a stud. So I'm going to go first because my pick is going to draw the most heat from this crowd, because I'm saying that Patrick Mahomes is not a stud.
He's a stud.
Patrick Mahomes has finished in the top 12 exactly one time this year, and that was week 1, and that was quarterback 12. He barely creeped in. He is currently the 21st ranked quarterback in our scoring system. That is not a stud. I'm sorry. But am I telling you to sit him? Because at this point, you're halfway through the season. You've been starting him every week. You've been taking losses. Sam Darnold, would you agree that he is a sleeper? Sam Darnold? All right. Sam Darnold, truth is, after 8 weeks, Russell Wilson is averaging, I think, 5 points per game more than Pat Mahomes. Russ Wilson is. I think he's a sleeper. Sam Darnold's averaging over 3 points per game more than Pat Mahomes. Okay? And you might say 3 points, big whoop. Well, the 3 points is the difference basically between quarterback 13 and quarterback 21. That is a big whoop, basically. You're trying to win. You want every point you can get. So would I sit Pat Mahomes? Maybe, but not this week. They're playing Tampa Bay, and I'm telling you, this week, I think this is his chance to finish in the top 12 again. So I'd keep him in the lineup this week. I'm not going to guarantee that if he doesn't finish top 12 this week, it's time to put him on your bench. It really is. And that's hard for me to say because I love Pat Mahomes. But this week, I think DeAndre Hopkins, 2 weeks in, is going to get used more. I'm not sure how much. Xavier Worthy's the threat to score from anywhere on the field at any time. And I really like the way Kareem Hunt is balancing this offense. I think Great that call. Because of that, and then you got not one, but 2 excellent tight ends. Even their third tight end was getting some play, but Noah Gray is actually very good. And I've actually picked him up as insurance for Travis Kelce in 1 or 2 leagues. Because if Kelce goes down, I think Noah Gray becomes an instant starter.
Great call, Greg. Wow.
Very good player. Yeah. So for me, put me in coach Travis Kelce. Now I got to go. We're going to go back to our pro, Josh. Who do you have?
You had Patrick Mahomes, right?
Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce.
I do.
All right. So I went a little bit, I guess not so controversial because he is coming off of a monster week where he had 15 targets, where he was telling people, I need targets. I need targets in the first quarter, second quarter, third. I need them all game, not just the fourth quarter. I'm talking about Calvin Ridley for the Tennessee Titans. This all to me depends on who is starting at quarterback. If Mason Rudolph's in there, I have a little bit more confidence that he's going to get targeted because he's not going to try to play hero ball and throw the ball with his left hand behind him, behind his back, whatever Levis likes to do these days. Mason Rudolph, I can't believe I'm saying this again in 2024. He's a more competent quarterback. Oh, never thought I would say that about Mason Rudolph ever. But the thing is,
hey, there was a time when we said the same thing about Baker Mayfield.
Yeah,
we never thought he would be a competent quarterback. He's top 3.
Wow.
Yeah, he's balling right now. So the New England Patriots, they do give up big numbers to number 1 receivers. Stephon Diggs had a good week when Nico was out, 77 yards. Brian Thomas, Mr. Day-to-Day, he had a big week against them as well. And the best player on the Jets, Garrett Wilson, went for 113 on him last week. And guess what? This is news because as a Dolphins supporter, this is huge news. In the Skylar Thompson, Tyler Huntley era, Tyreek had his best game against New England. He had 69 yards. My fantasy teams were 6.9, baby. It was awesome. So if Tyreek can do that with those guys playing quarterback, I'm pretty sure Calvin Ridley can get open against the New England secondary, who I think is mediocre at best or soft.
All right. Now I'm going to skip MC Don't Trip because MC Tip Tripped is sitting up there with his pick, and I want it to be last because I like it. I like his call this week because I like the reasoning behind it. So we're going to go to Rick. Rick, who is yours?
Well, I think I kind of hinted enough about it. Sam Darnold, the quarterback from Minnesota. He's had a pretty decent year, even though he's probably the quarterback 14 or quarterback 16
15
that range.
Yep.
And but he's going against Indianapolis, and Indianapolis is 24th against the pass. So they're also starting Flacco, which I think is going to create a shootout for the two quarterbacks. And so I am going with Sam Darnold. Last time I was here, I picked Minshew, which was a bad decision. So hopefully this is going to be my rebound, and folks will be able to start Sam Darnold and really have a successful week.
I think that's an excellent pick, to be honest. I've been very impressed by Darnold, but I want to let you know this topic has been our hardest of the year. For the year, we're 20-12, which is 375. It's been hard for us to find these guys that can become starters for you. We were 1-3 last week. We're much better at the studs to sit. We're 16-10-6. You get a tie if they finish. If it's a running back or wide receiver and they finish 13-24, they're still startable, but they're not studly. So basically, we went 1-1-2 last week, which was a very bad week for us in studs to sit. But you going to pick us up this week there, Tip? You going to get us? MC
Don't Trip's going to pick us up. But wait, Josh, did you have something to say?
Well, I was just going to ask Rick, did I read this right? I was not on the internet today. Is TJ Hawkinson, is he back?
Yeah.
He is.
I love that.
He was back wait a minute. He was back last week until kickoff. Everybody thought he was playing last week.
Yeah. So he's
TJ
full.
will play.
Let's go.
Yeah,
I love your pick even more. Yeah.
And see, I could see you saying TJ Watt. I could read your mind. That's why I knew you were gonna say something about him. So, but yeah, for me this week, it's Michael Pittman Jr. and it's because Joe Flacco is back. He's back in full effect. But look, I'm gonna say like this: Joe Flacco and Michael Pittman, they do have a connection. From weeks 4 to 6, when Joe Flacco was starting, Joe Flacco or Michael Pittman either had 100 yards receiving, or he had a touchdown. He had 2 games where he had a touchdown and another game where he had 100 yards receiving. This is a big Michael Pittman week for me. And you know what else? They play the Vikings. The Vikings give up the most points to the slot receiver. Michael Pittman is their primary slot guy, but you also got Josh Downs there as well. He can flip. He can fit in the slot as well. But when they get into the red zone, guess who they're going to be looking for? Yeah, they got some big tight ends over there, but they're really going to be looking for Michael Pittman too. I think Michael Pittman has a really nice game. I'm thinking somewhere along the lines, 8 catches, 80 yards, possible touchdown, and he's going to finish inside the top 12 this week for you as a wide receiver. Both. I think Josh Downs and Michael Pittman will do that. And then one other thing I got to say, this game for Sunday night is going to be a nice shootout for us. We got an old savvy vet in Joe Flacco. You got Sam Darnold. They had a couple of bad losses. This is a situation where you got to love having one of these wide receivers, or if you got both, you're going to love having these wide receivers on your squad. So get Michael Pittman in your lineup now. Do it, G.
Yeah, I actually told Tipp in our earlier show that I would have gone with Josh Downs, except that I went and I looked, and Josh Downs is currently the wide receiver 18 in our scoring system because we reward return yards. And he's a dual threat because he gets the punt returns. So he wasn't eligible for put me in coach. You got to be outside the top 24 if you're a wide receiver or running back. So I love this pick. I really do. Josh, pick it apart. Tell us why it won't work.
Why that won't work? Why Michael Pittman won't work?
Yeah.
I literally can't. I am so excited, but I mean, I guess the only way it wouldn't work is if he gets hurt. I am that confident in Michael Pittman being the number one target there in Indianapolis. I just don't. My buddy, my co-host at OUS, he's a big Vikings fan. He's like, he was so upset Flacco was named the starter. He was like, oh, they're going to throw for 500 yards. I'm like, yeah, I know they are.
Yeah. And I'll pile on that as well, because I thought Josh Downs is going to have a huge game as well. The Minnesota defense is super strong. However, they give up a lot of yards in the middle of the field. And that's where Josh Downs is going to be working. Pittman's going to be coming across as well. And even, a certain tight end that will be back in as well. So I'm thinking that there's going to be this is going to be a great shootout. I'm actually, that's the one game I'm looking forward to watching.
It's not just the middle of the field. I think Minnesota's excellent between the 20s. They give up a ton of yards between the 20s, but in the red zone, they're very tough.
Oh, they are.
So let me ask you this. Would you start the Indianapolis kicker? I don't even know who it is. We never give out kicker advice. Would this be a week because they're going to move the ball between the 20s, maybe get 2 or 3 field goals?
It's Matt Gay. Yeah, no, that's a good call. Yeah, definitely having that kicker on the Indianapolis Colts team, because you're right. When they get down to the red zone, they do tighten up their defense. So that's a really good call as far as that. I do think that also having Jonathan Taylor there though helps this offense tremendously, because you've got a threat now outside of the backfield who are out there in the backfield who can also catch passes if need be, but I just feel like there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game, and it's not going to be a bunch of field goals. I think that it'd be more touchdowns on there. It may start off a little slow, but then once they get it cranking and they get it going, they get. But wait, we got some breaking news here, and I want to shout out Jay Shiesty, Puka Nacua, and I just confirmed it. Puka Nacua did suffer a knee injury during practice today.
How bad?
They just said that it is listed. He will be listed as a limited participant, and that is all that they have. So stay tuned for that. So, yeah.
Cooper. I just got Cooper up back.
And it says previously tended to be his right knee. They're just saying that they didn't say which knee. So I was just making sure that it wasn't the same knee. But yeah, so he did injure his knee. Shout out to Jay Shiesty for that.
Hey, look, we got 1 minute. I got to ask a question, and I got to remember the second player. But the first one was Chase Brown, or let's go with Tank Bigsby.
I'm going Chase Brown.
Chase Brown or Tank Bigsby? You're going Brown?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And Bigsby's hurt, isn't he?
Who is?
Tank Bigsby.
I think Bigsby's okay.
Yeah,
Well, you say
so.
Chase Brown or the Jacksonville running back that lines up.
Yeah, no, and you're right. Bigsby was limited in practice today.
He had a toe injury, right?
Ankle.
Oh, I thought he had a toe. Who's got the toe injury?
That toe injury, I think. But Etienne is expected back too. So
okay. So you go on Brown or you go on Bigsby?
Brown.
Josh?
Chase Brown.
Okay. I went Chase Brown, but man, I do not like the workload he's getting at all. And now it's time for, I think, Tipp's favorite part of the show, the mailbag, JC.
All right. So all of these questions come from either our Facebook chat that we're on. It comes from our X chat that we're on as well. DM us. And then I'm also going to put in the email address that you can email us the questions too if you feel more comfortable doing that. And I'll put that in the chat here in just a moment. But we're going to go through this. We're going to answer these questions for you guys. First one is going to be a collective question that everybody can answer. Actually, the funny thing is Greg kind of talked about two of the players, Bigsby and Brown, in this question, but Eric still needs the help, so we're going to help him out. It's Bigsby, Brown, Chase Brown, Bucky Irving, or Demario Douglas. He needs to pick two out of those. And we're going to go to you first. Rick, who do you pick?
And I have to correct myself, and you were right, Tripp. It is an ankle. And because of that, I'm going to go with Chase Brown and Pops Douglas.
I like it. I like it. What about you, Josh?
Man, Chase Brown is definitely in for me. Man, I do want to go. I want to go Bucky Irving just because I'm a homer, live here, and I just want to see him do well. And I think he's the best running back out of all those three.
Wait. Time out.
Hold on.
Are you a Bucks fan or a Dolphins fan?
So listen, I'm a fan. I said Dolphins supporter earlier.
Okay.
Supporter. I don't like to give that. The only team I spend my money on is a hockey team over here in Tampa. We're back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. All right.
Oh, okay. The Lightning.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a big Lightning fan. So that's only.
Yeah, wait a minute. You think that's an accomplishment? I'm from Detroit. We three-peat. If you don't three-peat, you ain't nothing.
Hey, your captain helped us build this back-to-back Steve Eisner. All right.
But you still got one to go.
Hey, we do have one to go, and the team's Steven Stamkos slow. It's falling apart over here in Tampa, guys. But I'm going to go Bucky Irvin and Chase Brown.
See, I went with Bucky Irvin anyway. I know person in the chat corrected me. Bucky's the one with the toe injury, and he's going to have to deal with it the rest of the year. Yep. So Bucky Irvin, I just don't think you can sit him at this point. He's getting the looks, and he's converting them. I think he's a better running back than Rachaad White. Not as good a receiver, but still, I think you've got the Sean Tucker is probably the best pure runner of the three. I think Rachaad White is the best pure receiver of the three. I think Bucky Irvin combines the best qualities of both of those guys. So that's why I like Bucky Irvin a lot. Chase Brown, he's getting better snap share. I think he's up to, 56%, but he's doing less with it. So, I love Tank's chances, but he disappeared last week. I mean, he didn't do what we expected him to do, and Etienne is expected to be back this week. Douglas has a very tough matchup. It's hard for me to go with Pop Douglas. I like him a lot, but I just think it's tough there. So, it's definitely Bucky Irving at number one. My second one depends on Travis Etienne. If he's out, I go with Bigsby, and if he's not, then I use Brown.
Yeah, it's a full-on committee in Tampa Bay. You look at Bucky Irving; he had nine touches out of the backfield. You look at Rachaad White; he had 6, although he also had 5 catches too. So it's really a strange situation over there. I like Sean Tucker, but it is turning out to be a three-headed monster over there. And in football, and especially fantasy football, 3 is not always better than 2. I'm going with the guy who has a two-headed monster on both ends. I'm going with Chase Brown because I do believe in the Demario Douglas situation. It's a tough matchup over there. And look, Drake May is not really throwing to him. These last couple games,
Drake May's not playing quarterback.
Well, we don't know. He did practice today, so he is limited.
No, but I mean, when you say he's not throwing to him, the last couple of games, it wasn't him.
No, Drake May's been there the last 2 games.
Oh, I thought it was Brissett was playing.
Brissett came in last week because Drake May got hurt, but then Drake May is back. He's back limited, so he's still in concussion protocol. So we got to keep an eye on that. But yeah, I'm still not touching Demario Douglas. For me, it's Chase Brown, and I'm going to go with Tank Bigsby because, like I said, 3 is usually a better number, right? But in this case, with fantasy football, you want 2 instead of 3. And there's only 2 running backs over there that really the Jacksonville Jaguars are using at this point. And look, if Travis Etienne is let go, you got a bona fide stud on your team in Tank Bigsby. I know you need it for this week. I'm going Tank Bigsby, and I'm going Chase Brown.
So who is Tampa Bay playing this week?
The Kansas City Chiefs. Tough.
Yeah, that's a tough matchup.
Yeah, and so they're going to be probably I don't want to say forced to pass, but they're going to need to pass against Kansas City, and that brings Rachaad White back in there and
brings him in the mix.
Best receiving running back, also a better pass blocking. So that's why I would not have too much confidence in Bucky Irving this week.
Yeah, I think Bucky Irving gets us a floor of 10. I think he gives us a floor of 10. So what's the next question?
The next question is from Gabriel. And Gabriel asked, I have the same dilemma with Bigsby. We're going to skip this because we just talked about Bigsby.
No, I'm going to answer this one.
Okay.
This one was for me, and it's basically Brown or Bigsby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and much like the last question, this depends entirely on Travis Etienne. If Etienne plays, then I'm going with Brown. If Etienne is out, I'm going with Bigsby. I think it's that simple. You just watch Travis Etienne and figure it out from there.
Yeah, I like the call. Anybody have any rebuttals or not feeling that way?
No, it's pretty simple to me. I like what you guys are saying over there, MC.
MC ain't saying crap. Come on.
Look, I'm going to tell you right now.
He was going to skip it.
I have a big time, love for Chase Brown. I understand the touches have been limited from time to time, but the last couple of weeks, 17 touches in week 7, and then in week 9 he had 14. And look, the thing about Chase Brown is when they are needing him the most is in the pass game. And look, if T. Higgins is out, then I'm definitely going to put Chase Brown in the mix because last week he got a rushing touchdown. A couple of weeks before that, a few weeks before that, he got a receiving touchdown against the Baltimore Ravens. I like Chase Brown. They're playing the Raiders, my favorite team. But look, I'll tell you one thing: we struggle with the running backs. We struggle, especially pass catching running backs. That is where we struggle big time. So I'm going Chase Brown.
If Higgins is out, are you going for Yoshevich? Or however you pronounce his name?
Yeah, I do like Yoshivash. Yeah, I do. I like him.
The reason I ask is I've seen him dropped in 2 leagues this week.
Yeah, and a funny thing, I don't remember if it was last week or the week before, but Jermaine Burton was starting to come into a lot of the game script as well. It was last week because he had 41%. I started to notice that because Yoshivash, if T. Higgins is out, Yoshivash will take that T. Higgins side, although he can play the slot receiver as well. The good thing about Yoshivash is he's a big target, and he's like 6'2", 6'3". He can be in that red zone threat. But the thing is also Burton, I feel like something's about to happen with him. So this is going to be interesting to see because if T. Higgins is on the move, then this might be a situation where you might need to pick up Yoshivash and you might need to pick up Jermaine Burton.
Yeah, I think Yosh is better in the slot. So, if they were to put Burton on the outside and have, Yosh on the inside, I think that would be a better offense for Cincinnati, but we'll see.
Yep.
Can I get a follow-up question? I got real quick.
Yeah. Of course.
So Chase Brown, we've been talking about him for I feel like the past 10 minutes. What is the detour here? Is his efficiency for you guys? It's not Zach Moss anymore. He's Thanos away, fade away. In my opinion, he's got just 5.
He's still getting too many touches.
He's getting receptions, targets. I understand that, but I think he's had under 7 carries a game in the past 3 games. I don't have it in front of me because I have Chase Brown in front of me.
No, Chase Brown last week he had 12. The week before that, 15. Oh,
but Moss though. Moss on the other side, he's only had like a handful of carries.
Moss is actually, to me, being phased out a little bit in this office. I mean, he's still being utilized because I don't think you can give a full complement of snaps to Chase Brown. Plus, the pass blocking is really key with Zach Moss, and he's a really good pass blocker. So that's basically keeping him on the field. But I feel like Chase Brown, and Greg alluded to it with another wide receiver. I think it was Rachaad White. Look, when you're in a game script, another running back with Rachaad White, when you have a situation where they're playing a team like Kansas City where you can get into a shootout, that's where Rachaad White can come into the mix. I don't think it's going to be a necessary shootout with the Raiders this week, but the Raiders offense showed us a little something last week, and this defense for the Bengals, anybody can get up on them. So if that holds true, I think Chase Brown could be one of those players that catches a few passes out of the backfield, gets to the end zone. He's utilized in the red zone as well. So yeah, I like Chase Brown.
Let's get to the next question because we're running.
Rick already wants to know. I'm trying to get CeeDee Lamb and maybe Jonathan Taylor, and he would have to give up either St. Brown and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Bijan. What do you think?
Besides that's craziness, I'd rather have St. Brown and Bijan and
100%.
Yep.
Everybody agrees with that one. That one was an easy one.
Yeah. And then for me, it's Tommy asked, Tua or Dak Prescott this week. And for me, Tua wants a little bit of revenge. I get it. He's going against Buffalo. That's the team that he hurt himself. Actually, he did it to himself, I feel like. But we're not going to go down that road. But I will say this. Over Atlanta is averaging 27 points per game over the last 3. Dak is going to be forced to throw this ball. And I feel like that they had a bad loss last week. They showed up well in the first half and then just let it up at the second half of the game. I feel like Dak is going to be ready to play this week. They're going to be ready to score against this Atlanta offense. So I'm going Dak.
See, all right. I disagree with you. I think Tua's second game back, he's got some of the rustiness off, and I think that game has the makings of a shootout where there's going to be more passing than I think you're going to see an awful lot of Bijan against Dallas. So I think it's going to slow the game script down, and I think that's going to limit what Dak can do. So last question.
Last question is for you, Josh. Matt asked, Malik Neighbors or Brian Thomas Jr. But remember, Brian Thomas Jr., he's questionable now with the chest injury. So let's just say that he possibly plays.
Let's say he's playing.
Well, since I already told you guys to sit Neighbors about 45 minutes ago, I got to go my boy Brian Thomas Jr., the best rookie wide receiver in this class anyway.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't see how you can not go with him, to be honest. I just think that he's just that good. So that's our show for tonight. Josh, thank you so much for coming in on a holiday. Rick, mucho thanks for you. Rick stepped up. Last minute stepped up. So
and he brings the heat every time. He brings the heat. But you know what? Wait, Greg, before we go, we got to talk about next week's guest. We got Scott. First,
Josh, you got to tell everybody where they can find your work.
Oh, sweet. Yes. Follow us over on YouTube, OUSFF Pod. We also stream over on the Fins Talk Sports Network. We're on Twitter. Well, I'm not on Twitter anymore. I quit. But please follow my co-host, Justin Bowerly. He's the man over there. He's the reason why OUS is crushing lately. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
I think I've seen Justin in the Going for Two Discord too as well.
He's a chatter, man. I'm more of a, if you want to, like Rocky used to say back in Rocky, hey, call me. I ain't got no phone. Well, how am I supposed to call you? Go, hey, Rock. This is J. Josh.
Hey, yo, Rock.
That's how you get a hold of me.
Tip next week. Scott Gearhart from
Scott Gearhart
with the
the
Sports
Gamers Dome.
Affiliation now.
Yes.
At the Gamers Dome. Follow him on Twitter. All right. He's our pro. And Scott Tabachnik at Scott Tabachnik is our Joe.
Look, I'm gonna put it in.
Scott's coming in.
I'm gonna put both the Scotts in there.
Empire.
I'm gonna put the Scotts both in there in the chat because I'm pretty sure everybody will butcher Tabachnik's last name. So
but the key thing is it's the invasion of the Scots.
Oh yeah. Invasion of the Scotty Snatchers.
Hey guys, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And JC, we're finishing on time. Take us out.
Damn glasses.